context, and if you have questions as I go, interrupt me. You know, I don't have to wait till the last 5 minutes. I'm not necessarily, I tend to be a lot more informal. But so I'm an Alpha Kappa from University of Buffalo. Got a job with a Fortune 500 company out of college, Kaufman's, which was a division of May Company, which eventually merged with Macy's. But at the time, May Company was bigger than Macy's. So I worked in Pittsburgh for a few years, came to St. Louis, got promoted to their corporate headquarters in '94. So I was working with a team of buyers across the country at all of our different divisions. Got to become a special analyst for the CEO for a while, working in their in-house marketing department for a while. So I was with them for about 8 years, and it was just kind of stagnant and slow, and until I got to the point where I was going to be a vice president, I wasn't going to be able to make any kind of big, serious decisions. It was just it just felt like it was very frustrating because there's a lot of red tape to get anything done, and things take a long time. So I eventually left, and so I made my mistake career move because I really liked St. Louis, and I wanted to stay here. I met my wife, who's actually also a brother, from Washington. So I ended up getting recruited to work for a staffing firm, a small company, to help them recruit people in the retail industry. So I did that for about a year, and it was just a grunt. If everybody's seen the movie Glengarry Glen Ross, I mean that was that kind of environment. It was brutal. I mean, desks tracking our phone time. You had less than 4 hours, and they were going to come out and yell at you because you weren't on the phone enough. Unbelievable. The first deal I made was the VP of International Marketing for Walmart. Walmart was never a client of theirs, so it was like the biggest deal they had all year. And this guy's great about me on my phone time. So then I went and actually worked for a friend who actually did start a business up. So that was kind of my first exposure to entrepreneurship. So they had a company, about 20 people, IT staffing. So I joined them. We were there for about 2 years. We grew the company up to 50 people. We were in a lot of the major companies in St. Louis, like Anheuser-Busch, MasterCard, A.G. Edwards at the time, Monsanto. And after 2 years, it's like I decided that I didn't like what I was doing. I was doing really well, but I didn't like what I was doing. And I really wanted to get into marketing and advertising. So I ended up leaving without a job. I figured if I find jobs for other people, I could find it for myself. That was a week before 9/11, so it wasn't the best time to make a career move. But I did end up going to a company called Explain, which took very complicated things and portrayed them pictorially. They used to call it cartoons for CEOs. So, but we would take a very complicated thing like RFID technology. I actually worked with MIT, Cambridge University, to display what the value of RFID technology would be to the commercial world, so that they could sell it into the Walmarts of the world, the Procter & Gamble's of the world. And I had to create a position for myself there. So from there I went and worked for a more traditional agency, and after about a year and a half when the partners left, a couple of my colleagues got let go, we decided to start a business. So that was my first experience. So we had about a 4-year run. We were kind of seen as one of the fast companies in St. Louis. We're doing work with Monsanto and Sigma-Aldrich and the St. Louis Science Center and some interesting stuff. At the end of 4 years, partner and I had a kind of a divorce, business divorce, if you will. Cost me a shitload of money. So I inherited a lot of debt at the end of that because we had to kind of split things up. I was making probably a third of what I was worth, during that time. So there's the opportunity cost. My wife and I are actually supposed to go out to dinner tonight at Morton's to celebrate the fact that we finally cleared out my big white sky debt. So it's taken us 5 years to kind of knock it off. I joke around that I bought a 7 Series BMW that I never got to see and never got to drive. But I was paying on it for 5 years. So from there, actually, and my partner did something actually illegal, which kind of forced me to kind of walk away from it, and our investors to walk away from it. So then I started a company called Behr Strategies. This is in partnership with my wife. Had enough of my clients that said they wanted to keep working with me, so this seemed like a logical choice. So we had about a good 2-year run, and then I got a little over-assorted into not-for-profits. So in 2008, when the economy had crashed, suddenly the St. Louis Science Center, KATC Channel 9, the St. Louis IT Coalition, some of my clients, all of them lost their funding like overnight. So within 2 months, my business dried up to nothing. So then I actually had to go work for somebody else, which after you've been an entrepreneur is a very hard thing to do. So I went and worked for another company. Lo and behold, after 6 months, they had me start another company up for them. We spun it out, a company called Upbrand. I had a friend of mine I've known for about 12 years. I was on a board together, trying to lure me to his company called Gray Matter, where I'm at now. And I kept saying no, because I'm like, if I go to another startup right now, my wife is going to divorce me. My marriage is really important to me. So I have to get stable first. So he kind of kept after me, and finally he had grown his agency up to about 20 people and needed me to help take it to the next level. So I joined him about 2 years ago now. So we're a brand engagement and innovation agency. We actually had our first spin out last year called Click With Me Now. So I'm co-founder and chief marketing officer of that. The company's a year old. We're on our way to securing $1 million in seed financing. Excuse me. Our technology will come out in spring. We've already got one of the major Blue Cross plans signed up for it. And essentially what it is, it's peer-to-peer web sharing. You're on a website. Let's say you're planning a trip, right? You're in Travelocity. You guys are taking a trip together somewhere. You need to kind of coordinate. You're in different places. With one click, you can invite them into your web session. And you guys are all in the same web session without ever leaving the site, with nothing to download. It's just one click. So that's kind of what Click With Me Now is. So we call it social shopping. It's going to kind of spur on the social shopping revolution. And we've been recognized as one of the faster growing tech startups in St. Louis. Got into the Capital Innovators program just about a year ago, which was the inspiration. We're in the process of starting another spin-out now in partnership with George Foreman. So we're actually going to educate seniors about health insurance. Most seniors are not insured, even though there's a lot of government programs available. So we were actually down in Big George's house about 2 months ago in Houston. It's a 40-acre lot, and presented an idea to him, and he the next day said yes. So we're in the process of launching something that's going to compete with AARP to seniors to educate them about senior health insurance. And the model we have now at our company is we're actually trying to spin out a company a year. So we've learned how to fund it, how to package it, how to find a leader to grow it, because we want to keep building businesses as opposed to growing them. So so everything I'm telling you is stuff that was like learn the hard way. If wisdom is a measurement of learning from your mistakes, I'm a very wise man, because I made all the classic mistakes. So this is I'm actually excited when Don asked me to talk about this, because if anybody is looking to start a business and there's one thing that makes you think twice about something, or plan a little bit more, or redirect you in a way that helps you be successful, then that's what I'm looking to do. So right now, I would say you guys have all heard the stat, and actually it's kind of misleading. It's gotten a little better, but they used to say that 50% of the companies don't survive their first year. Of those, 50% of those companies don't survive their second year. And of those, 50% of those companies don't survive their third year. It used to be like that. It's gotten better. Now, the last stat I saw was a third of the companies fail in their first year, and only 50% of them make it to the 5-year mark. So, most people getting into business fail. And there's reasons they fail. So one of the first things I'll say is plan your finances. I just kind of told you my whole story. We jumped into it. We were underfunded. None of us were in a position to, and point number two, they're kind of related, but point number two is be prepared to make nothing initially. I mean, you need to plan to make next to nothing for your first 6 months. If you start paying yourself in 6 months and generating profit, that's great. So that has to be factored into your plan, all right? So number one is plan out your finances. Number two is, you're not going to make squat in your first year. So number two is kind of a subcomponent of number one, but it's so important that I thought I would call it out. I'm always kind of counseling, actually, Ken Harrington. Every once in a while, I get a call, somebody says, Ken Harrington said I should talk to you and think about starting a marketing agency. So we'll sit down and have coffee. And one of the things I say is, do you guys have some money in the bank? Or do you have a spouse or a girlfriend or some parents that can lend you some money to kind of get started? And if the answer is no, I'm like, how are you going to, because if you think about it, unless it's a consumer-driven business, you don't get your money. Like if it's a business, you send an invoice. The invoice takes 60 to 90 days to process before you get your money. So a lot of times you're 60, 90 days out from the time you provide that service to the time you actually collect anything on it. You have to account for that. You have to have enough money in the bank that you've either borrowed through a line of credit, you've secured through an investment that's going to carry you through that. And you have to really kind of factor into what you're charging for your services. A lot of people tend to undercharge when they come out. They realize there's all these hidden expenses that they didn't foresee. but they didn't factor in. So it's really, really important to get, if you're not financially smart, I'm not, my wife is financially brilliant. I'm a marketing guy. Numbers were not necessarily my thing. I had to learn it, just because my initial business, our CEO was running us into the ground. We had to fire him, and I had to kind of take over the finances. So I kind of had to have a crash course in that. But go to somebody that is a financial professional, work with them, understand where your revenue is coming from, where your expenses are, what you need to live on, for at least the first year. So it's critical, because that's the thing that kills most businesses. You run out of cash. Cash is king. Cash is blood. If you're bleeding to death, you die. That's a harsh reality. The other thing, as it relates to the second point, that you're not going to make much money in your first year, everything takes longer than you think it's going to take. There are all these obstacles that come up that you just didn't anticipate. Closing a deal takes longer than you think. You think it's going to be 1 or 2 meetings. Sometimes you have 2, 3 meetings, get them to sign off. Next thing you know, there's the boss that's got to sign off on something. Or you're trying to kind of get out in the marketplace, and there's these hurdles that you run into over and over again. So everything takes longer. So you have to take that into account.
That guy who says he's the decision maker,
yeah.
When in reality he has the authority to say no, but he doesn't have the authority to say yes.
Exactly right. Yeah. So true in the B2B world. B2C world, a little bit different. But if you're starting a bakery, there's a lot of upfront costs, right? You have to have a place, you have to have the equipment, you have to get some initial marketing out. There's all those expenses that happen before you sell anything, and so you have to kind of build that stuff. You have to kind of realize that you have all these expenses up front, and then how you're going to recoup those expenses over time. So the third thing is do something you love. This is, people that go into business and say that they want to make a lot of money and spend more time with their family, that's false. Unless you've really established it. You're 5 to 10 years into it. You don't realize that for probably a decade. You don't get to that point until you've got a team kind of running everything, and you can step back and take a couple deep breaths and maybe go off and cut out early and play golf or spend some time with your family. It is a rough road as an entrepreneur. You work a lot of hours. Do something you like. Because if you don't, you're going to hate it. You're going to hate life because it consumes you. It's like a drug. It's addicting. So do something that you love. And if there's something that you love, which kind of falls into one of my other points, if there's something that you love but you don't have a lot of experience, go out and get experience in it. If you're better off learning on somebody else's dime than your own, because it costs you a lot of money to learn on your own. So if you're into, that's what I did. I love marketing and advertising, so I went and I worked for a couple of agencies. Saw how they did it, how they managed it, learned on their dime, if you will. If you jump into something and you haven't done it before, you don't have any experience with it, you're going to make mistakes, and those mistakes are going to cost you. It's going to cost you time, it's going to cost you energy, it's going to sap your morale, and it's going to cost you money. The other thing is, as an example, and smart people have made this mistake. Anybody remember the dot-com boom, a company called Webvan? So Webvan had the managing partner of Accenture, right? Super smart guy, well-known company. It had one of the founders of Borders as 2 of the key people behind this company. And what they're trying to do is essentially have an online drugstore. Not drugstore, grocery store. Bring groceries to your house, order online. They way underestimated how long it would take to set up the infrastructure to be able to do that, particularly when you're dealing with fresh foods, right? You're not dealing with goods that can sit on the shelf for months and months and months. And looking back at it, one of the analysts say why it failed. Nobody on the senior management team had experience with grocery retail. Nobody did. So you would think people that smart, that accomplished, would have brought somebody to their senior management team that had experience in that field.
Couldn't they have just hired a few people that were in that industry, or?
They could have, but they didn't, not on the senior management team.
And they probably had the money to do that.
They did. It was one of the biggest dot-com flops. They lost billions of dollars. So, my point is, even smart people, they kind of need to kind of take that advice. The other thing is have a business model that's going to work. Forget a business plan, right? A business plan carries you so far. And the reality is 6 months in your business plan is changing, right? As stuff comes up. You have to have kind of the foundation of how you're going to market, how you're going to finance. You need to know those things, but have it as more of a business outline. What you need is a business model that works. The business model of Webvan didn't work because their infrastructure cost was so high, it was going to take them so long to recoup that. they had a flawed business model. The original model we had for my company, Big Wide Sky, was supposed to be big agency services at just above freelance prices. So we were going to recruit all kinds of freelancers. We were going to manage the project. We were going to give small companies the same kind of talent that big agencies give them. Our business model was flawed. We learned into it after a year. I mean, we would have to build a robust technology platform to help us manage this because it was just too much work to try to manage all these different freelancers and all these different projects. And you know, we had to totally change our business around and become more of a traditional agency. So our business model was flawed. So what was the cost of that? It cost us a lot of money. Because by the time we figured it out, we had dumped a lot of money into the company, worked a ton of hours without making any money. So you need to have a business model that works. That's the next point. The other thing is build a trusted support network. This is both the professionals, this is your accountant, this is your lawyer. You need to have that right professional network of people that you trust, but at the same time, it's a personal network. I mean, your boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, they have to be bought into this. They have to know, you know, how passionate you are about this, and they have to support you on it. If you don't have that personal support, and you're spending all your time and energy working on this business, it's going to create a lot of conflict. Family, friends, find a couple mentors if you can, people that have been down this road before that can kind of coach you along the way, help you avoid making some mistakes, and have some people that know you well enough that at some point they'll tell you it's time to hang it up. Because when it's your business, you don't see any way out other than to succeed, and there are other ways out. And I got to a point where I had 3 people telling me, Mike, you're like a wounded lion. Every time you get well, you get shot again. Because you just have to, because it's time to hang it up. It's time to get out. You know, talk to your partner, tell them you need to part ways. So you have to have those people that really know you and they're business savvy enough to kind of see what's going on, and you need to trust the judgment because you will never give up. You will never give up. If my partner didn't do something so dramatic, I probably still wouldn't have tried to make it work. We probably would have been divorced and miserable. So you need to have that network built up. The other thing is hire the right people. Oh my God, it's so critical. People can make or break your business. So have a sense of what you want your culture to be like. Have a sense of what kind of people will thrive. We've got a philosophy in our company that, you know, experience is great, but we hire more for talent. You have to know these things in your head. Those first key hires you make are so important. And it's so hard to let go. If you've been the one kind of doing everything and you're starting to bring other people in, those people are the faces to your customers. You know, we actually use a system. We're a small company. We've got 15 people. Click With Me Now right now has 3 people, the 3 principals. We're about to start hiring some folks. But we have everybody take an assessment. We have everybody meet with everybody in the company. We interview on core values as opposed to skill set. I mean, we look at skill set, but there's a screening process. And at some point, we know what kind of people fit well in our organization. We've got a great culture. People like coming to work. We're fun. We work hard. We got really smart, scary smart people that work there. Know what kind of people you need to bring in and hire the right people. And again, that's another area where you should have somebody help you if that's something you're not good at. Brian, who's my boss in one business and my partner in the other business, you know, after like halfway, a year into my tenure there, he's like, all right, Mike, he goes, I suck at hiring. It's up to you. Fix this, because we had some bad hires. And it cost us a lot of money. And a lot of disruption, and lost some good people as a result of it. So hire the right people. Build your brand right from the start. Don't just think of a name and slap a logo up. Think about what you stand for. What are you going to consistently promise your employees, and what are you going to consistently promise your customers and your business partners? You know, what is that? For us, it's kind of go beyond the known. It's kind of our core purpose. Our core values are about authenticity and about getting shit done, but also having this passion for excellence. It's this eagerness to learn and grow. We're always taking on new stuff, so we look for people that show ambition and wanting to kind of learn things. We've got 7 core values that everybody in the company can tell you, and they're not written down anywhere. They're not on the plaque on the wall. So know what you're about. As you expand, know what you're about. Know what your brand really is. Don't think you're going to readdress it in 3 years, because you're going to be caught up in something else in 3 years. Spend some time and figure out where your brand is right. Choose the right partners. In particular, like in your case, you want to start a bakery, there's going to be some key suppliers. Make sure you've got reliable suppliers, because guess what? You open a bakery, you don't get your supplies, you can't deliver on your goods. So make sure you thoroughly vet your partners and have the right kinds of partners. The other thing too is if you have business partners, people that actually have equity in the company, you're going to spend more time with that person than you're going to spend with anybody else in the world, your spouse, your family, your friends. Make sure you know that person, make sure you trust that person. Again, I'm the one who can kind of vouch for that. I've chose the wrong partners and it caused a lot of grief. One of them I couldn't speak to for 10 years. I just recently saw him at a networking event. He was the original CEO that we fired. Because he was paying himself a lot and paying us a little, and he was kind of hiding, what was kind of really going on with the finances. So he's somebody I should have vetted a little more thoroughly and known a little bit more. The last thing I was saying is know when to hang up. Know when you have those trusted partners you can go to, and it's just not working. You have to have somebody else help guide you on that. You have to, at the very beginning of your business, say, I'm going to give it X amount of time, and if I'm not achieving this by at this point, I'm going to hang up, I'm going to walk away, and I'm going to do something else. So build your exit plan up front. Know what parameters you're setting for yourself that tell you it's time to go on to something else. Because again, gods are against you, right? So I got the 5-minute signal. Is there any and what I'll do is I'll leave my business cards here for you guys. If you want me to kind of email this, my list to you, I didn't have time to kind of make copies, but if you want me to email it to you, I will. And if you are seriously thinking about going down the road and want to sit and have coffee or have a lunch and kind of talk about your ideas, we'd be happy to sit with you and do that as well.